Hi, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Pleasant Valley Uplift, the Thursday night uplift. I'm Reverend Lynn Chaplin Noe. I'm so glad you're here tonight with us. And before we get started, I wanted to remind you of something. Our title of the talk tonight is In-tu-it-ism, the power of spiritual inquiry. So I know it sounds like intuitive, it's into it, like get into it, into it. And it says here for me to check okay, I'm going to check my settings later. Okay. This dashboard is telling me all kinds of things. Before we get started, I want you to grab a hold of a certain truth. And this certain truth is that just acknowledge that when we came into this experience, each of us comes into this experience, this plane of expression, we come into it with everything we shall ever need to know or have, period. It's all within us, and we spend our lives awakening to these truths that are already so within us. Can you remember that? In fact, let's just affirm this now out loud with me. Affirm: I already have all that I shall ever need and all that I shall ever know within me right now. Okay, just keep that in mind while we're going through this little exploration tonight. I wanted to read something to you from Nine Gates Mystery School, and I don't know how long ago this was. Look, this is a beautiful brochure. You see that key, the key to the mystery of life. Anyway, it was wonderful, and I don't know if it's still going on. Wonderful retreat. Here's a quote from it that I think is so beautiful. Within you lies a doorway to the infinite. The journey to find that doorway can be arduous, for it takes you into the landscape of your inner being, leaving behind your safety net, and discover the knowledge that it is your birthright. So it's your birthright to unravel, to explore the marvelous landscape of your own inner being, and that this is your birthright to do this. You are born with this roadmap within. You're born with that. So that means that spiritual practice, the practice of spiritual inquiry, you need only to ask the questions. Just ask the questions. You take you within your already knowingness and ask the questions. Ask the questions of spirit, of other people, of yourself. Is this for me? What is mine to do? Ask the questions. Ask the important questions. Is this the gift? And there you have it. That is spiritual inquiry. And then there's also another school of thought that says, I have a beginner's mind. I know nothing. Well, of course you don't. You have to start somewhere. You have to grab that key and that passion for going within, for asking the wonderful questions, for getting into it and asking the questions. And that's spiritual inquiry. It's enough to give you whiplash. I know. There's a lot to know. There's a lot to know. And in the consciousness of humility and authentic curiosity, when you're asking this activity of asking the questions, when one practices this activity of asking the questions and going within and spiritual inquiry, and it's the spiritual activity of doing this. That's it. That's spiritual inquiry. Authentic curiosity. Did you hear that? Authentic curiosity and passion. I'm passionate about knowing what my purpose is. My teacher used to say, period, my purpose in life is to reveal God. Well, yeah. And for some of you, that word itself is triggering. And so if your passion is my passion is my purpose is to reveal God. But if your purpose is something akin to that, whatever you see the creator or the higher um, uh, the higher thinking or the higher self, whatever you see as that God equivalent, that's your purpose, then absolutely you should engage in spiritual inquiry. Inquiring minds want to know, right? So it's a lot like Fight Club. This Intuitism. It's a lot like Fight Club. There are no rules for Fight Club. There are no rules for being an intuitist. There are no rules for this. Although, there are some practices and things that you can engage in that will take you into that consciousness of inquiry, of spiritual inquiry. You can get into it, and you start by observing. Observe your world around you. Observe nature. It speaks to us. It guides us. And observe other people. Observe the signs. Observe what people are saying to you. It's all for you. It's for you. This is for you. So observe. And then ask questions. What is mine to do? Is this for me? Is this the gift? Is this my project? Is this my purpose? Go deep, get into it, and then ask that question passionately from your heart and your soul. Ask those questions and then dig deeper and deeper. Get into it. Like the 60s, right? Get into it, baby. To get into it. Dig deep. And then, big one, listen. Listen. And listen from that place within where you know you already have what you shall ever need and what you shall ever know, and that is within you. That is yours. That is the place where you listen. You listen from where your answers come. You listen from your answers. It's like Jeopardy. Answer it with a question. Answer it with a question. Okay, so it's not Fight Club. There are no rules for Fight Club. You can talk about it. You can share about Intuitism. You can co-create with Intuitism. Because we are creative beings. We were created by a creator out of its own perfection. We are ourselves creation. We are creation. There's no absence of creativity in the universe. There is no absence of creativity. And spiritual inquiry brings you into that environment of creativity. Asking questions is immensely creative. If you've ever been, and I know you have, many of you who are watching this tonight have sat on boards, have been in committees, have been co-creators, have been planners, have been teachers and ministers. You're always creating because the creator created you out of itself, out of its own perfection. You are a creation. And so, yes, intuitism means when you get really into it and into the deepest, deepest, deepest form of spiritual inquiry with others, you're collaborating on a divine scale. In fact, Wayne Dyer says, I love this, you're divine enough to ask and important enough to receive. Let's say that. I am divine enough to ask and important enough to receive. So I guess we're talking about manifesting here, if we're talking about receiving. So, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting to be comfortable? Because, comfortable is great. It's just nothing grows there. You've got to move your feet. You've got to take some action. And we are intuitists. Isn't that something? It's like the Saturday Night Live, and that you get a glazer if you've hosted 5 times. This is a very special club. We're intuitists. We get into it. We get into spiritual inquiry. We're spiritual warriors, and we ask the big questions. We ask the big questions. Don Miguel Ruiz and his son, I think Jose Miguel Ruiz, have their second book is The Fifth Agreement, which is question everything. I like that. Question everything. We think we know what we know, and that's dangerous. We think we're enlightened, and as soon as we say we're enlightened, we're not. So, yeah, question everything. Don't take everything at face value. Ask the questions, the real questions. Is this for me? Is this good? Is this productive? Is this on purpose? Is this kind? Is this creative? Well, it's all creative, whether it says it does or not. I don't use the word power lightly. And the title of this talk is The Power of Spiritual Inquiry. And I'm going to read you what power means. Power means the ability to do something or act in a particular way, especially as a faculty or quality. The quality of power. You can influence others when you have this quality of power. And if you're asking and you're listening, then you're modeling an activity. I'm going to read this to you. I want to read this because I don't get it wrong. Power can influence others. So if you are asking and listening, you are modeling the activity of your inner power, to which you are always awakening. You are sharing an environment of spiritual inquiry. Power can influence others, so if you are asking and listening, you are modeling the activity of your inner power, to which you are always awakening. You are sharing an environment of spiritual inquiry. I like that. I wrote that. Well, God as me wrote that. As you awaken to what you already know, the expansiveness of this cannot help but make you attractive. So you are, when you are in this environment of inquiry, you are attracting to yourself those situations, those people, those persons, those conditions, those beliefs equal to your expansiveness. That's mental equivalent. You are attracting to yourselves the mental equivalent of your level of spiritual inquiry. Even I got that. Hit me right in between the eyes. So here's a story about expansiveness and mental equivalence. And years ago, my husband and I, we had lost our home. And we were living in a 3-bedroom apartment with my first husband. Yeah, it was snug. There's a soap opera or a television comedy, some sitcom in there somewhere. We were living with my husband in a 3-bedroom apartment in Sherman Oaks, I think it was. So we were looking for places to live, and we thought we were getting close to finding an area that we wanted to be in. And my husband said, "Look here," and he had penny saver in front of, remember the penny saver? He had the penny saver in front of him. He said, look here, here's a refrigerator, a used refrigerator. This is one that we can afford. And I, ugh. Well, of course, you know, if you have to do that, you have to do that. But I said, well, why don't we expand our consciousness, our awareness, and be in the space of inquiry and ask and let spirit know that we've expanded our consciousness to be able to embody and to be able to afford and have a really nice state-of-the-art refrigerator. Expand our consciousness so that we could embody and be able to pay for and own a state-of-the-art refrigerator. And so he said, okay, let's do that. So we asked the questions. We're looking for a home to live in, and we know that we're probably going to have a refrigerator. So we just focused on getting this fabulous home. Whatever it was going to be perfect. What is mine to do? What is the best thing to do? Is this for me? Is this good? Is this appropriate? Is this blah, blah, blah? You know, is this asking the questions? And we kept losing every house or every condo that we wanted. We kept losing it. And we couldn't quite nail this or seal the deal until we ended all the way out here in Ventura, which is heaven, by the way. And we found a place, and 6 months later, that place fell through. We found another place that was more, where we're living now, more equivalent to our mental acuity, more equivalent to our level of consciousness. It was in fact the mental equivalent of what we were being, who we were being. Remember the law of attraction. I attract to myself those circumstances, people, persons, conditions, things equal to my level of consciousness, my mental equivalent. And we got this place, state-of-the-art refrigerator. It isn't now. We had to replace it. But then it was better than we had ever had. It was amazing. And I'm telling you that these are principles and these are spiritual practices that we can all do if we take our time and we listen and we have a spiritual practice and we meditate or we read or we take our classes, we attend our services on Sundays. They're all, and the uplift, attend the uplift. They're all kinds of things that we can do to raise our level of inquiry, raise it up so we can get into it, dig deep, and ask the important questions. Are you getting that? Okay. So it's like, ask and ye shall receive. Be in the space of inquiry and ye shall receive. And remember, it ain't Fight Club. Well, it's a lot like Fight Club. There are no rules in Fight Club. But there are spiritual practices that you will want to latch onto and do in terms of spiritual inquiry. Number one, observe. Observe your environment around you. Number two, ask questions. Number three, ask those questions now passionately. Number four, dig deep. Dig deep and get into it. And number five, listen. And listen from that space within where all of your answers reside. And that means that you become charter members of Intuitivism. You're fierce listeners if you're an Intuit. Intuit. You're an Intuists. You are fierce listeners. So when you ask the deep questions, ask them from that space within, that space where you know that you know everything you shall ever know or need or have, where you are always awakening to your highest and best performance of you. And so it is. Okay, that was fun. That was fun. I want to talk to you about something before I go. It's 7:20. I don't want to take you too long, but I told you I was going to tell you something, give you some interesting news. And Reverend Pam Gagan and I are going to be teaching, or actually facilitating, a wonderful workshop in February, starting February 12th. It's called The Lotus and the Lily, and it's by Janet Connor. If you can see that wonderful, it's by Janet Connor, The Lotus and the Lily. It's a wonderful experience. It's a 30-day experience. So she calls it a 30-day soul program. It's immersive. It's very hands-on. We'll be doing some very interesting processes. There's a lot of creativity in it. And I want you to seriously take a look at experiencing this workshop with us. It starts February 12th, right before Valentine's Day, by the way. And so this is what I want you to do. You have, you're here. And so if you're watching this, there's a comment section. In the comment section, if you are interested in learning more about this wonderful Lotus and the Lily workshop with Reverend Pam and me, please let us know right away, and we'll have maybe a Zoom call and explain to all of you on one Zoom call, instead of talking to everybody here and there, maybe a Zoom call just to tell you all what this workshop is going to entail. It ends with, so gorgeous, and if COVID lightens up a little bit, the last session will probably be live, and we'll be creating a vision mandala. And this process is incredible. I'm loving this book so much, and I want to share it with you. Reverend Pam loved it so much. She said, she called me, Lynn, we've got to do this. This is amazing. She's manifesting amazing things in her life, and small, wonderful, charming things in her life. So please join us for this workshop. It's called The Lotus and the Lily, with Reverend Pam and Reverend Lynn. And you can email us too, or call us. And all of that information, of course, is on the Center for Spiritual Living, Pleasant Valley in Camarillo, California. And you can certainly ask us for more information. That'll probably be in the form of a Zoom call, so we can tell you all about it at one time and get you all excited about it. It's wonderful. Now, here's the more news. This Sunday on our service at 10:30 a.m. Pacific, we have the great pleasure of having Reverend Dr. Maureen Hoyt as our speaker. So excited about this. When I became a minister, Reverend Maureen was on my panel. I didn't do so well, but she's fabulous. She's amazing. So you want to be there. It's on Zoom, and we're going to be on Zoom until further notice, obviously. And it's wonderful, wonderful music Sunday. But Reverend Dr. Maureen Hoyt will be there in the house Sunday, and you don't want to miss her. Okay, now at 7:24, you've already missed Jeopardy, and I know. I hope you taped it, because this is his first night, and he unseated Amy Schneider, whom we all loved on Jeopardy. So go watch your tape of Jeopardy, and remember to go deep and get into it with that spiritual power of spiritual inquiry. I love you, each and every one, and so begins the lesson. I'll see you Sunday.